I've always sort of struggled with verbalizing my goals and making public proclamations of them. It's never been that there's a fear of commitment to making a goal or committing myself to something. I think in the past, I've just always thought of goals as being something personal to me, and I'm the only person that really cares about their successes and their failures. For those of you that are new here, my name is Cameron. I'm a writer, an editor, and the creator of Wrestling with Words, a channel where we look at how we can tell better stories while also understanding how the best stories are told. Today is something that I want to build a habit in doing, and that is really looking at not necessarily the goals, or at least not fixating on the goals, but looking at their results as well as the lack of results. I want to be a bit more critical about the successes that I've had while analyzing the failures. So I think it's better to sort of start with the successes that I've had so far. And I'm kind of looking at this a little bit of last year, but mostly this year. First off, I started this channel. I'm entering kind of a new medium here on YouTube and with video creation. I think it's been an exciting start, and one that I imagine a lot of writers or people that are kind of in a creative space can relate to. And entering a new medium and trying to learn a new set of skills. I've made it a goal of mine to reach 100 subscribers every month, and I hit that goal last month. We got just a little bit over 100 subscribers in kind of our first month on YouTube. So that was really exciting. I think that setting these sorts of milestones aren't necessarily a way in which I'm going to be measuring the success of the channel, but more so just as a way to target growth. Another big milestone for me last year was getting published, and I was actually published for the first time a couple of times. Those were all short stories in varying lengths, some microfiction, some flash fiction, and some short fiction. I know I've shared a couple of them before, but in kind of entering this full-time writing and editing and now content creation space, it really was a goal of mine to start publishing work and start getting my work out there. I had been working on a longer piece for a while, but kind of changed gears and wanted to work more on short fiction. I've talked a little bit about the importance of short fiction in a couple of articles, and I'll probably go into more depth in another video. But for me, short fiction was really important in that I was able to see the full writing process from start to finish, from the blank page to the first draft to revisions to then trying to sell it or find someone to publish it. Also in that same breath, I think in total numbers, I had about 8 pieces get published last year. Interesting enough, a lot of those were more towards the end of last year, but I think that's because I was working on a lot of stuff kind of at the start of last year, and then went on submission for some of those, shopped them around, and then finally, heard back and saw publication. 2 of those were for print. One of those prints was printed at the end of last year in December. It was the Voices de la Luna winter edition. And the other one that was accepted is actually going to be in a magazine coming out with their first issue this year in March. So that one's Habitats. The rest were all for online publications, a lot of them being sci-fi shorts. As far as the business goes and kind of freelancing and editing and writing, it's been a pretty good year so far this year. A lot of client work, a lot of different kinds of client work. A lot of kind of clients that I've got lined up that I'll be working with in the coming months. So it's really exciting to be working with writers and to kind of be working with writers full time in this space. So that's been a big success of mine. For an athletic perspective, I've been coaching a lot more as well. I enjoy coaching a lot. I think that kind of echoes a lot of reasons why I like editing and why I like working with writers and even doing this and doing YouTube. I really enjoy coaching. It's been nice to kind of expand from just normal classes to then kids club and then to also sort of private lessons. So expanding kind of coaching, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu has been a bit of a goal of mine. And so I've definitely filled the schedule a little bit. Not quite yet to max capacity, but we're getting pretty close to time I can allot for coaching. The other success, which came at the very start of this year in February, was I got my purple belt in jiu-jitsu. So that was really exciting. Competed about the end of last year in blue belt. I did 4 divisions, gi, no gi for both weight class, and then absolute. Took gold for all 4. So it was good to see that, I had the skill set, and I haven't just been relying on wrestling that I've had in the past. So that was exciting to get as well. And now for some of the failures, some of the things that I set out to do and didn't quite do, or the areas that I feel like I'm sort of slipping, whether it be my own creative life, athletic life, or just, in general. I've definitely started to drift away from Medium and writing on Medium. I know last year it was a big part of kind of my writing journey, and it's been kind of a big part of launching this channel. A lot of the content that I was creating on Medium was kind of finding itself as being kind of the rough draft or the outline for a lot of video ideas, and they'll probably still continue to do that. However, I think in kind of entering these different fields, it becomes a bit stretched thin. Medium is kind of the thing that has sort of been stretched the most. But I think once I start to come up with new ideas on here, I definitely think I'm going to start to implement those transcripts a lot more into what is on Medium and posting the transcripts there. So I think that Medium is just one of those things that I'll probably continue to be disappointed with myself in not reaching that goal. But it is one of the things that I set out to kind of be a little more active on, but definitely have receded back a little bit. For the start of this year, I really haven't submitted a whole lot of short stories, or as many as I wanted to. I've been shopping around a couple of different ones. I think that I need to just keep submitting and keep kind of building that list of magazines or publications that I really want to submit to. But it's funny, there's nothing more disappointing than getting a rejection letter from one magazine that I submitted to, and then getting an acceptance letter for a piece that was already accepted, which quite literally just happened just now. So that was a little bit frustrating. It's always nice to feel wanted. I've slowed down a little bit on my own flash fiction. I try to write and get for sci-fi shorts at least one piece of flash fiction, but I think again, when it comes to kind of all these areas that I'm trying to operate in, some of the things just kind of slip through the cracks. I do have a piece coming out in March, I think in a couple days, for sci-fi shorts, so I need to kind of keep making that microfiction and keep that muscle kind of working. And I think that it's just I need to carve out time for my flash fiction specifically. And athletically, I think I've slipped a little bit on finding a rhythm, or some sort of rhythm to kind of stay active. I really am trying to make a concerted effort to kind of getting to a nice rhythm, to not just training at the gym and coaching, but also to getting on a consistent plan and really kind of buckling down with that. At least find some sort of routine. Another kind of failure that I feel like was a little bit of the quality in these videos. I cut myself a little bit of slack because I don't have a background in video production, and everything you're seeing is kind of self-taught. The Last of Us video that I did, there's some growing pains with it because of some of the issues I was having with my mic. And if you noticed, I ended up buying a new mic via a recommendation from a friend. And I think it's going to help a lot because I was spending a lot of time trying to tinker with the audio of a really crappy mic that I had for like $20. It was disappointing to have a drop kind of in quality that I kind of set for myself. I do have a new mic. You can probably hear a little better now. Hopefully that helps with kind of the quality and whatnot. And that kind of segues into goals that I want to set. One of those was already kind of mentioned at the start because I hit that goal from February to March, and to kind of keep growing 100 subscribers every month. That's still going to be a goal. And so I think that's one that I'll include first in here. We're about halfway to that goal, and we're 10 days into March that I'm recording this. So it's kind of nice to know that it feels like the goal was a good one to set. I'd like to beat that goal and kind of exceed it. We'll kind of see how things kind of grow and kind of make sure that I can kind of keep a consistent schedule for the videos and for the uploads. I've been uploading a lot more shorts, but I definitely want this to be a long form channel, really kind of where I see this channel kind of going. I also want to, this is a bit of a longer term goal. This year I want to, or at least maybe halfway through the year, I want to have my 0 draft of my long form manuscript completed. And I'm kind of taking an interesting strategy that I think I'm going to talk and dedicate a full video to. But essentially I have been kind of using the format and the structure of writing microfiction, but doing it in the long form. And what I kind of mean by that is for just about every chapter, for the outlining portion, for every chapter I'm writing either a microfiction or short story or a flash fiction scene. It's kind of like what the core concept is of that chapter. And microfiction largely is under 100 words. And flash fiction is under 1,000, and then short story is both of those categories, usually up to like 5,000 words. But I want to kind of do it as a way to take the bites out of a longer form piece to help make it less daunting and kind of get the core ideas on the page to then kind of build around. So the first draft of this zero draft is going to be every chapter being a microfiction or a short fiction or flash fiction, and then building out the dialogue from there, and then coming back and really kind of writing the story. It's a little bit new technique. It's one that I've used for kind of mid-length stuff before. I've done this before. I like the strategy and I like the style because it kind of forces you to think about what is the key message here. So we'll see how it goes, kind of long form. Another goal of mine is to write a short story a month. I've kept that somewhat so far. It's only been 3 months this year, so I've kept that kind of goal in mind, but I want to keep that going for the rest of the year, and we'll kind of see kind of how I hit that. I definitely want to try to get in the habit of getting at least one longer form video a week. I think maxed out at like 2 a week is going to be what is doable. But we'll kind of have to see how that goes. I'm sure that's going to be one that's going to end up falling in the failure bucket for a little while until we kind of see what's feasible. And then finally, I want to try and compete as a purple belt. I think it'd be kind of a good test, especially with the new belt. A lot of my teammates and coaches and students would probably like to see that as well too. So competing as a purple belt in jiu-jitsu is definitely something that I have kind of on a goal. We'll see how it kind of fits into my schedule and everything, but it's on there. And that's it. Let me know what you think of kind of making these public goals and talking about kind of successes and failures. I'm curious to hear what your goals are, as well as some of the things that you set out to do and did, or maybe didn't do. I always like to know sort of what other people are kind of wrestling with and hearing about what their successes are. So that's all to say. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.